All right, Jared, here we go.
We're
Playoff
back.
season. We're back.
Playoff playoff plus BYU game. Here
Yeah,
we go.
it's the bonus material.
This game.
We can start with our bonus material because I'm sure I'm sure it'll be weaved in.
You
But
know,
like,
I
yeah.
I would say let's talk about the teams who got left out and their bowl game, but Notre Dame decided not to play a bowl game. So we can't talk about Notre Dame.
Well, I mean, we could,
We
but
could. We can't talk about a game because they're like,
yeah.
wah, and so
So
we
I'm kind of
can't do
ticked
that.
about that. I was like, I would have loved to see them play off. I mean, I would have
Oh
been
man.
nervous. I'm going to be
Oh,
lying. I would be
totally.
lying if I didn't say that. I didn't think, there's a possibility we could have gotten creamed there. But anyway, but there's also an
It's
opportunity for both teams to show up and play really good football. So I
right.
don't
I'm hoping, but yeah, I think it'll be an interesting matchup, Georgia Tech BYU. Um,
know. And well, Haynes King is an ESPN favorite based on what I see on College Game Day. So
mhm.
they like Bear too. So
Yeah,
we'll
it'll
see.
be. I hope it's kind of like last year with BYU, where they went in against Colorado and just dominated. Now,
Dominated.
I don't know that they will. The
Yeah,
only thing that maybe thinks it might happen is Georgia Tech the second half of the year really
tanked.
wasn't great. Like so, and but they did compete with Georgia,
I will say
but
they're good, but they haven't been consistent. And I think that's what, like, some of the teams they've lost to, I was like, really? And then you did well against Georgia, so it's kind of like, and maybe there's injuries that play into it. Another thing I
yeah,
have been asking, at least on both sides of the team, is who opted out as a senior,
right.
so because that makes a difference. If Haynes King opted out, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
hoping Bear didn't because he's coming back. Well, we hope.
He's a freshman. Yeah, he's still
Freshman, lot to
eager,
prove,
prove his
and
name.
hopefully he's not injured because man, he was hobbling there at the end of the
He he
game.
was. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
get him to the PR.
What I read is he's good. He might not be
Okay.
100%, but he's like good.
Okay.
And yeah, if BYU brings their whole team and is motivated, I mean they could
Yeah.
easily win this game and they get their defense out there. But I'm not it's not like oh yeah, we got this. Like it's like
No.
Georgia Tech's a good team. It's just who's motivated, and this is the thing with all bowl games. Who's
Who's
motivated?
motivated?
Who still has players
Healthy.
like
Yeah.
that not just healthy but
But
on their
draft.
team.
Yeah.
They're that
Oh, that's
like
that portal.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
portal. I
Mm-hmm.
just saw that the TCU quarterback is skipping the bowl because he entered the portal.
Because when I thought was that today that the portal opened? When did the portal open? I thought,
Oh, I don't know.
oh, they
I
can
don't know when it
announce for the
opens, but they
portal.
can announce it,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Because I
whenever.
thought it didn't open until January. Anyway, but
Yeah. So it's a sad time really in college football when that's all happening and
I think again they've got to get their schedule figured
they
out.
they have to get it
This is
figured
just
out.
too messy and it's unfair. I mean, I agree with Nick Saban. It's unfair to the players. People who
Mhm.
signed up to win a national championship and then their coach leaves and
Yeah.
they still have a shot. Like I still feel bad for Ole Miss, even though like I don't know.
Well,
I
I watched one guy talk about Notre Dame and how, they're like, oh, the players voted. And it's like, well, how much of that was peer pressure from the captains? And like, because,
yeah.
and his point was like, you have the Rudies on the team that are never going to play football again. Like, this is it. And they thought we got one more game. You have the parents who thought we got one more
Yes.
game. You have the cheerleaders, the
Yeah.
seniors who thought, you have the
Band,
band members, you have the fans who thought we had another,
the
like, you
boosters.
so
Hmm.
it isn't just about like the players being like, well, we voted no. It's like your decision is affecting everyone who thought we had one more game, my last thing ever. And you're like, no. And you know what I compare it to
Yeah,
actually is when I went to the MTC, it was pre 9/11,
that's
and you
right.
could go to the airport.
Yep.
Families could go to, so when
Yep.
I said bye to mom and dad, it's like, I'll see you at the airport. And
Right.
then 9/11 happened, and it's like, no, well, you can't go to the airport anymore. And
I
it's like,
remember that. Mom
you
was so
felt
sad.
you felt robbed,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, like, but you couldn't plan for that because you didn't know. And not that I want to make light of 9/11 or anything, but like
Yeah.
it reminded me of like, okay, some people just didn't have a choice in the matter, and you made the decision for them.
Right.
Which
Yeah,
is
I also think it's weird because it's almost the opposite of the end of Rudy when the team rallies for the right reason. And this is the team rallying for what I think is a selfish and a battery.
It's
Because I was like,
yeah.
yeah, I think they had to have been motivated, but I mean, I don't know how much Marcus Freeman played into it. I'm going to excuse him from this conversation. But the AD, man, I'm sure
Oh
he had
man.
some words. And I mean, I think he went about it professionally, but he still had the complaint aspect of this where it's like, well, the rug got pulled up out from under us. And I was like, okay, but
But the
let's just say you made it and we didn't. I mean, the rug kind of got pulled out from under us, kind of too, in the sense that we were
yeah.
never in the conversation in the first place. They're like,
Right.
well, we were there. It's like you were lucky to be there, man.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it could have gotten pulled out from Alabama. Would they have gotten that mad? I mean, like, so I think it just goes back to like, I think it sets a very like t temper tantrumy
Oh,
like
totally.
precedent, which is and like it's funny because I feel like what I've liked about BYU in this, and this is very classic BYU for the most part, is to be like, we'll stand up and take our stripes. Like, is this fair?
Yeah.
No, but all right, we're gonna go play.
Let's move
And
forward.
what I
Yeah.
hope about this too is like, I don't know if I'm like at first I was like, I hope that we really just beat Georgia Tech because that would just be like, hey, we were deserving because I can't believe, I mean, even out of the power four, I wouldn't even these days I'm like, it's a power two. It's not even it's kind of like a power two plus, well, maybe
A few
like,
teams.
and then
Yeah.
there's two in
Well,
between the group of five and the power two. Because I'm like, even the ACC, I'm like, they seem to have more respect for the ACC because of Clemson recently, but
and
like, I'm like,
Clemson's.
and
Yeah.
then, and then there really hasn't been anything fair, like, so for TCU, I think was probably the last, one that made a run.
Mhm.
But that's what makes me so mad. I never realized how the Big 12 has probably felt for a long time. Well, but maybe they didn't feel this way always because they had Oklahoma and Texas.
Mhm.
So until they lost those guys,
Well, and back in the day, they had Nebraska and like all these other
did they have
schools
Mizzou
that
or
they had
no?
Mizzou,
Oh, they did?
Texas A&M,
Oh, wow. That's
um,
right.
Colorado came and went. Not that Colorado was powerhouse every year, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they had, good, like it was a great
Yeah.
conference, and then they
Yeah.
started getting poached off here. But yeah, it's
What I,
funny. Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
Power Two is interesting because it's not the full conference of the Power Two. It's the top teams because the
It's the
bottom
blue bloods
bottom
is
are
really,
horrible.
yeah.
Yeah, the bottom are
Hmm.
horrible. Mid are mid.
Hmm.
Like, and the mid would be mid, honestly, I think
With us too.
anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know.
I was actually pretty disappointed in the Big 12 commission. Like he gets all riled up against Notre Dame, but then he's like, I think they got it right when
I
they
think
post the CFP, and I was like, I'm gonna lose it
I
with this guy.
agree, but I saw that and I'm like, I think he's picking his battles right now. Like, because he
But
spoke
what?
up
Yeah,
for BYU, but I think he really need like Notre Dame throwing a temper tantrum and then the 80. And you know what would be interesting if Notre Dame had a week to decide.
yeah,
I almost think, I bet you they'd almost
they would have.
cooler heads would
Cool.
prevail.
Mhm.
Let's go play a bowl game. But they had hours to
Yeah,
decide.
true. They
And
were in their emotions, so
right.
yeah.
But I do think it's kind of I wonder what's going on in the background. Like, is Brett Yormark like, hey, I can't go after Big Ten because I need them on my side. I can't go after the SEC because I need them on my side so we can get auto bids when they expand this or something. Like, is
But I
he
can pick
playing the
on Notre
long
Dame
game
because
here?
they're the
They're
independent.
the they're the independent, and also the way they did it was just whatever. And they're getting unfair treatment with next year we have a clause that if we're in top 12, we're in.
I
It's like
cannot. That's
no one
so
else has like what?
frustrating.
So they get the best of both worlds of independence and being in a
And
conference,
treatment. Hmm.
and they get to sit out conference championship weekend because it's like, well,
Well, and
whatever.
let's be honest, when have they not been in the top 12 in the last however many years, even
Yeah.
if they deserved it or not? So,
And their schedule next year is easy as this year.
yeah.
Like I was we'll look at it next year, I'm sure. But like I someone posted it and I was like, well, they're gonna go 11 and 1, or something. Like it's gonna be easy again. And then everyone's gonna be like, but did you see how good they are? It's like they're not playing anyone anymore. Um
Yeah,
anyway.
I want them to fix what's broken because it's making it not as fu I feel like last year as a fan, yeah, we kind of got slighted, and not even kind of, we got slighted because of the whole like, tiebreaker rule, whatever. But I was like, at least, I don't know, I think the conference championship helped at least me. I think the placement of it was a little different, but I was like, the way it was reorganized this year has kind of made it a little worse, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And then the bias has made it
Oh,
even
the bias is
worse. Like
unbearable.
it's unbearable. Like so I'm just sitting like who was it? Oh, it was Diego Pavia, and now I was like, oh, he fell from grace in my eye when he posted this.
The-
And I was like, what? He's like, come on, President Trump. I think it should just be like four bids
oh
for the
man.
SEC and Big Ten, two for the other two, and then whatever else. And I was like, I'm kind of mad now. Okay, Diego. Shh. Like if
Dude,
he had said four straight across the board, then yeah,
it
okay,
should be.
you know what?
Yeah. Well, and not
Or
only his
three.
his
I don't know.
his his F the voters comment, it's like Diego just he shot himself in the foot here with
What
a
did he?
lot of people. He lost the Heisman and he
Oh,
tweeted out he's like F the voters, they don't know, and he got a lot of backlash for it because it's like
oh,
you
Diego.
thought he was just this like grinder who's out there everyday working man, and then he's like so classless and defeat, and he later apologized for it, but it's like
No, that's when you
uh
hide your phone. When you're in a high tense situation, I mean, it's the same thing that Notre Dame should have done. Put your
mhm,
phones away and your decision-making powers away until cooler heads prevail. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's a lesson I didn't know when I was in my 20s, so I'll have to give him some grace, but
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
like,
Well, someone
yeah.
one of the Heisman voters made a point. He's like, "Look, the Diego should have known better. He's 25, 26. He's been in college for 6 years. Like, this isn't some 18, 19-year-old
Hmm.
throwing a rant, throwing a tantrum. This is a guy who's closer to 30, who's now ranting, which again, you're in your 20s, but still, like, he's been around a long enough where it's like, this, you probably shouldn't
Well,
do this.
and not only that, but come on, didn't you know this was kind of coming based on
Yeah.
all of the pre-polls and predictions? Like, I'm sure he was like wishing upon a star, but I was like, go take that up with, the man upstairs instead. But like, I, I think
It,
it's too easy for like a very public outlet these days. I mean, we won't talk about the Michigan coach where it's just like, dude, walk it up. I mean, again,
yeah,
everybody just needs to chill for half a second until you realize, okay, that choice was the worst choice I could have been
that
making
was
in
a
that moment.
bad decision. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And that's the
Yeah.
sad thing too, is because he was such a fan favorite and he could have been a
Was,
scatteroo type of personality going into the
oh, yeah.
draft where people would have gone to see him play. And if he's now shot himself in the foot a little bit, that's too
There
bad.
was I think they're playing Iowa. There was a meme that's just like all those people cheering for Vanderbilt, and it's only Tennessee, and anyone cheering for Iowa is the rest of the U.S. Just based on his antics now. It's just like
Oh,
you kind of, and it wasn't a true poll; it was pretend. But I'm
yeah.
like, I get it now. Like I was pulling for Vanderbilt. Oh, I like
Yeah, me
Diego. Like,
too.
and
Yeah.
then all the actions recently have just kind of been like, I think kind of that stardom has gone to his head, and now he's kind of this invincible. Like I just watched the documentary on Brett Favre and his kind of fall, and
Oh,
how some of these athletes just they're invincible and they think they're
yeah.
invincible, and we think you can do
It's a God
anything they want.
complex. I mean, yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Well, and
anyway,
I think you're also like when you become that certain status, you start detaching from normalcy and you don't realize the impact of some of his statements. It's kind of like it
yeah,
reminds me of like the John Mulaney was like, when or like Mick Jagger asked for a Coke, he's like, "Give me a Coke." He's like, "That might not be rude because in his world, people give him a Coke when he
right,
says that, So like, but normal, he's like, normally you're like, "Can I have a Coke, please? Can I have?"
yeah,
So
yeah,
like the reality of all that, I can't relate to it, but we're all the fans are not, we don't relate to that. I
yeah,
don't relate to that. Anyway,
great. All
all
right.
let's get
So
into
hopefully BYU wins. All right, now
hopefully,
yeah,
fingers
let's go to the
crossed.
bracket.
So I'm gonna just share my screen of the college bracket. Jared and I didn't do anything special here. We just decided we wanted to talk about this publicly.
Yeah,
Maybe we should take our own advice.
yeah. Don't share your
Anyway,
own opinions.
I'm like,
Yeah,
never mind, we'll shut this down. I'm just gonna go through the bracket the way that it's
yeah.
it's laid
Just
out
go
here.
top down.
Okay, so we
Do
got
we
James.
want to just pick? Are we picking the full thing, or are we just doing?
I
Let's just do the
let's
first round.
let's pick the full thing unless we want to keep talking
Okay,
about it week on week,
yeah,
but I don't know.
that's fine.
Um, I don't even mind talking about it more than once, but because I'm sure there'll be something to say. But
Yeah,
so James Madison in Oregon. I mean, I feel like
I have you seen the Twitter account for James Madison though?
No, no.
They're hilarious. Now,
Oh,
I'm not on
really?
Twitter or X,
I'm
but
gonna
they're
go
just
follow.
like they're I'm sure you could Google it and someone's consult like put
Yeah.
it, but they're basically just like they're they're being very sarcastic. Like there's something about the talent gap, and you're like, that's right. Oregon hasn't beaten anyone in the Sun Belt this year so far, and like they have.
Oh,
But
that's
it's just
hilarious.
things like that. There's like a practice video of a lineman going out for a pass, and they're like, Oregon can't guard this. So like they're having
Oh,
fun with it. I
that's
think they
funny.
realize like a lot of people are like, what are you doing here? You have no shot. And they're just like leaning into it. And it's been really kind of funny to
That's
watch. So um
I'm kind of glad because it goes back to like if you can't kind of make light of it, and at least for your players to be like, we're just happy to be here. I mean, can you imagine the amount of money they're going to get from this
yeah,
that they
look
just
good.
weren't normally used to? I mean, for them, I'm sure the program exposure just number one. But I think out of the two, like James Madison, Tulane, I actually think James Madison is better. Now, granted, they're playing Oregon, which to be honest, out of the two, like Ole Miss versus Oregon, I actually think Oregon might be the better team. So maybe that is a better matchup. But I don't anticipate Oregon losing on this.
Me neither. I
But
hope they do, but I don't
right?
anticipate
I
them.
mean, that would be great for Texas Tech. But
It
anyway,
would be.
oh
Oh
well,
yeah,
maybe I guess it goes back to like
maybe.
what I don't know, maybe it'd be worse. Um I think I want them to at least show up. I want them to get at least 14 points. Like
Yeah.
you know, I
Well,
don't
the
want it to be a shutout. That would be just too sad.
yeah,
I don't know.
and this is the thing. Like, if James Madison's one, because right now there's a ton of rhetoric around Tulane James Madison shouldn't even be here. This is
Right.
ridiculous. Which generally we've talked about. Like, I agree with like you at least need to
Yeah.
be top 15, even top 18, and then maybe we can bring you in. But like when you weren't even sniffing top 25 and you get in, like it's kind of tough to do it. So
Yeah.
to for that argument's sake, I hope James Madison, for that fact, Tulane, I hope they both win. And it's like, oh, like maybe there is more parity than we thought in
Yeah,
college football
that's what's going to be interesting.
to destroy the SEC Big Ten dominant things. Like,
Oh,
of
can you
course they,
imagine if
yeah,
Tulane and James Madison won?
right.
Like, oh,
So do I
yeah,
think Oregon will lose? No. But do I want them to just to
just for
let's
fun.
blow it up even when Duke won, like
Yeah.
everything's been blown up anyway. So
Yeah.
let's just let them win or not let them, but let's see
Let
them
the
win and
chaos
stuff.
ensue. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Oregon's likely winning. So
Yep.
we'll go with
We'll
that.
we'll go with that. Okay, then we've got Alabama and Oklahoma, which starts in a couple of hours,
Rematch.
actually.
Oh,
So
that's today. I
that's
forgot about that.
today. So
So rematch.
that's
I
all your
think and it's
Friday plans.
At Oklahoma
Yeah.
too. But
So many
I think
people are
Oklahoma
favoring.
comes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I think Oklahoma comes in mad. They lost that one to Alabama already. They're at home. I think Alabama honestly isn't as good as people think. Someone put up some stats. They're like, look at their wins. Like Alabama gets credit for. Like it's
Yeah.
barely over this team, barely over this team, barely over this team. Like, are they a good team? Great. Could they win this game? Absolutely. But like, I don't think they're still riding a little of the coattails of Nick Saban,
I
I
agree.
think.
I agree. I people are favoring Alabama on this one, and I think
Oh,
it
are they? Interesting.
at least what I've
I
heard,
haven't looked.
and a lot of the people I've listened to, they're like, I think Alabama comes in on this one, and I was like, I think you want the SEC to
Think you?
show up, and you
Mhm.
want them. I mean, okay, but also. If Oklahoma loses to Alabama, wait, Oklahoma beat Alabama earlier this year, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay. So I was gonna
Wait,
say,
no, sorry. Uh, Oklahoma, yes, beat Alabama. Sorry. Yeah,
that they
I had
beat
it mixed up.
Alabama. Because at first I was like, okay, so yeah, it was the
Oh,
whole
my bad. My comments were flipped
yeah, I
there.
was
Yeah.
thinking so because I was like, if they were like that's a Texas Tech thing, and do we get mad about that? Anyway, but yeah, so I just think from my perspective, you've got this 11 and no. Is it a 10 and 3? No, 9 and 3 team.
10-2 is Sooners. 10-3 is
Yeah.
Alabama.
I, I just I here's what I want. I want Oklahoma to win. And it's not because I don't like Alabama. I just feel like they've been favored to a point of extremity at this point.
Yeah,
And I think they need to get in line and face their stripes like the rest of us that have to account for any losses to the
bad
extreme.
losses.
Like the
Yeah.
Georgia loss, in my opinion, at first I was pretty sad. I mean, it goes back to like, okay, after about the first quarter, I was like, oh, actually, no, Texas Tech game. I was like, really up until mid third quarter, I was like, we might have a game. And
Oh,
then it
BYU, you're
horribly fell
saying?
apart. Yeah, BYU and
Yeah,
Texas
yeah,
Tech.
yeah.
And it fell apart. And so when it fell apart, I was like, oh, that was embarrassing. But then you see Alabama and Georgia play, and I was
Get
like, oh, hold on.
creamed.
Hey,
Yeah,
um, but they didn't get a penalty there. There's a
yeah,
lot of reasons why, and everyone's like, well, it's the SEC. I was like, I'm sorry, but there's some point that that has to continue to not be an excuse.
right.
So, like,
You
whatever.
can't, and you can't discount your bad loss earlier
No.
in the year too.
Yeah.
Like, why do you get a pass on bad loss and a pass on being creamed? Like you're getting multiple passes just because it's
And
like
the
that's
Auburn
the
thing,
SEC. And the
yeah,
Auburn was
exactly.
barely, that
Yeah,
was
like
ugly. I heard someone say about Oklahoma, it was the coach. Well, first off, you hear people argue like, well, style points, and particularly against
that needs to
BYU, it's
be,
like, well,
yeah,
they're barely winning. And then the Oklahoma coach comes out and he's like, well, it's an ugly win, but a win's a win. And it's like, again, why is a win for you,
but
but
it's not
not a
for anybody
win-win
else.
for everybody else?
Right.
Like there's this just hypocrisy all around. So,
Yeah.
and of course they'll be like, well, SEC, it's tougher. It's like you need to take a look in the mirror and actually look at some of the like Auburn was horrific this year and you barely beat them. That's not you
And
can't you can't write that off
rivalry,
as
sure, but at the same time, I'm just like, but I agree with you. I feel like Alabama, they kind of were a bell curve to me. They started off rough, they got better, and I think for a while, you and I were like, I mean, their strength of
yeah,
schedule and what they had done,
right.
they kind of slid, and I was just like, I don't know where they're at, and if that was injury related, do they have their players back? Because I think at one point when I was reading, I might have sent it to you, like both their running backs were out for that championship game. It's like, okay, but some of those guys are out for the season. So what
Mm-hmm.
is this? I mean, poor Florida State fans who are just like, all right, so
Yeah,
what does it take,
they're
man?
out.
You know
Yeah,
what
they're out
I
then.
mean? Like, you should be out. Like nothing, there's no equivalent to what happened to them that's happening this year. And I always feel so bad for them. Their bias I is totally understandable.
So
Um,
now that we talk about this game though, I don't know where to go with it because it's like
yeah.
Oklahoma kind of wins ugly. Like their defense, I think is good. I was
Yeah.
reading something like defense great, offense is kind of like suspect. Like, are they going to show up? Are they not? And then Alabama, I feel like you said, it's kind of like
Well, Alabama's
we're kind of getting
offense, negative
by.
3 yards in rushing.
Yeah, in the whole
So in the
game.
whole game. And I'm sorry, but I'm just like, I think Oklahoma's defense takes it on this
Yeah,
one. So
especially if they follow that recipe that Georgia just did. I mean Georgia's good. They're no Georgia, but like if they can follow that, then
what will be
yeah.
interesting is let's just say Oklahoma, maybe the SEC is like, don't beat them by a lot. Anyway, but if Oklahoma shows up and dominates like
Uh,
Georgia did,
it's a bad luck.
what will be the
Uh,
rhetoric around Alabama having stayed in the playoffs
yeah,
versus another team? I mean, Notre Dame will go crazy, number
right,
one. And so will BYU. Well, they won't be loud about it, but all the fans
right.
will be upset. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, especially if, well, Notre Dame won't have a playoff to be like, see, we played this team and we beat them. Let's say we
right.
beat Georgia Tech by a lot. That will be something where it's like, all right, guys. Anyway,
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's an interesting point
so
on that.
you're thinking Oklahoma wins on
I'm
this
going
one?
Oklahoma. I
I
still think
agree. I,
Oklahoma, and I kind of think, oh, this is what I was gonna say. Last year it happened, people, it was Lane Kiffin who's just like, look at all these blowouts, we should have been in it. And it's like, but then you go back and look at the 4-team playoff, the BCS, and it's like there's blowouts all the time, like
all the
against
time.
the super conferences too, like
That
the
was the
people who should have
TCU
been
game
good,
at the
right?
very end, and we're like, what happened? What?
But
Yeah.
so that's the thing. There's going to be some blowouts, and of course,
Mhm.
people, especially if James Madison, Tulane get blown out. See, and it's like, yeah, but also remember the year Notre Dame got blown out, like, and remember the year
Yep.
Clemson got blown out. Like,
Yep.
there's all these other years where it's like the teams you thought were the best got
Yeah.
blown out too.
It's kind of
So
almost like an every other thing too, where some years you got, I mean, even with the Super Bowl, I feel like it's kind of like every other, maybe every 3 years is a blowout. Because sometimes I'm like by halftime, you're like, it's kind of not a game
kind of
anymore.
done.
But
Yeah.
like, but then the years where it's close, I'm like, that's where the viewership stays. I almost feel like that's what they want when they choose the teams that are playing off. But
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. I actually don't know if it'll like a lot of people are like, oh, maybe by a touchdown, maybe by a field goal. And I was like, think I think Oklahoma has it by at least 10. That's what
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, okay. Big
So
prediction.
throwing that
Bold,
out there.
bold
Bold.
prediction. All right.
All right. Tulane and
So,
Ole Miss. Let's see what we think about that.
so the interesting one with this one is they already played and Tulane got killed. But the interesting thing about that game is Retzloff was new as a quarterback for Tulane. They were
Oh,
still
I didn't
trying
know
to,
they played this year.
yeah, they were
Oh,
still trying to figure out the offense and get him along. Now, again, I think, and the other thing with this is Lane Kiffin's gone. So
yeah.
how does that impact the
And
team?
the rat poison coming from two places in Old Miss. The rat poison from Lane Kiffin leaving and the exit and the drama all there. But also the rat poison and knowing that you already creamed this team.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
like
yeah.
yeah, and then preparing, I'm sure in their mind they're like, let's just prepare for Georgia. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
could be. Yeah, we're playing.
Maybe we
We
won't play
beat
our
them
starters in
already.
this game, but I was like, if you don't like, I feel like Tulane's one of those teams where I was like, Retzlaff played in a Power Four conference for a while.
Yeah.
Like he might not have all of the rest of the team to kind of complement that, but
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't rest on him too much. And so this could be closer. That's funny because this one actually isn't the other game. I think the Oregon game is like a 20 plus spread. This
Mhm.
one I think is in the teens. If I
17. Still
Yeah,
pretty big, but
it's big, but that's
I
interesting.
would, I would, man. So Tulane's already got film on them. They played them once, so
Yeah,
they can like, they know,
analyze
hey,
it. Yeah,
we can learn from that.
yeah.
Retzloff, like I said, it was the, sorry, which game? It was the
It's like the second or third.
fourth or
Okay.
third. Hold on, where was I? Just had it. It was the fourth game of the season. So
Okay.
they're getting in the flow, but Retzloff, he transferred in the summer. So he was still getting it. And then they went on and they had a good year.
Yeah,
Um, but I really do think Ole Miss losing a coach, I at the time was thinking
I
like,
agree.
if you lose your head coach, you should kind of be out. Like if Florida State was kicked out because they lost their quarterback, then now you're losing your coach, like, and you got an interim coach in there. Like,
Well,
I don't know.
I've been reading stuff with all these dramatic coaching leaving dramas and people are saying that like most of the coaching moments these last couple weeks have been spent with the players calming their emotions down rather than revving them up and pumping them for a game. It's like they have to have all these one-on-ones where they're working through the like anger, frustration, like do I enter the portal? Like those are the
Yeah.
things that are like top of mind where like Tulane, it's kind of like we got one goal here.
Yeah, we're all in.
Like
Yeah.
we're all in. We're playing everybody. All the starters are playing. I don't care how hurt you are. Anyway, so I think I actually I hope these become games because to be honest, I actually think it will be shocking on the viewership to see. I think there'll be a lot of first quarter tune-ins on this one.
Oh yeah.
Be like, let's just see how this goes. And then if it gets to a point of destruction, then it's like, I'm done.
Right.
But man, if
But
these like sustain to like halftime or longer, that'll be a fun game to watch. I'll tell
the
you that.
the thing is too,
Yeah.
like if James Madison beats Oregon, that's just like a straight up like Oregon, you don't have an excuse, you lost.
Yeah.
If Tulane beats
They
Ole
have an
Miss, it'll
excuse.
be well, our coach
Yeah.
left,
They
see,
have
and
an
it's like,
excuse.
well, then why were you even in the playoff? It like
Yeah.
if
It-
that's your excuse and we knew your excuse, maybe you should have removed your
yeah.
name from the
Maybe
bracket.
don't cry about that because then you'll become,
Right.
it'll set the Florida State clause for the rest of the teams that actually, because again, and the other thing goes back to like, who is it? In the bowl game. So they're not in the playoff, but let's say Michigan has a similar outcome. They might use that as like the Florida State clause moving forward to be like, if you lose your head coach, it's been proven that it has this much
Yeah.
dysfunction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're not going to play you off. So also be wise about your coaching decisions before the playoff run. Like I
Hmm.
would hope. But anyway, all right, let's talk
All right.
Miami and Texas A&M. I think I'm going Texas A&M. Here's my
Well, you got the
answer.
shirt on
Yeah.
and you went there, so that makes
Yes.
sense.
Yeah.
I would go Texas A&M here too. My only kind of watch I'm looking at both of their schedules. I remember we talked
Yeah,
last time when you look at Texas A&M's schedule,
yeah,
it actually isn't that great. The strength of it. Like they
yeah.
didn't like yeah, they beat Notre Dame. That's the best win. And other than that,
They had
kind of it.
they had a couple strong wins. I feel like in the was it the
It
Notre Dame game, they had like a Heisman moment in that game where that guy
I don't
caught
know.
it. That was
I
insane
think Heisman moments are stupid.
They are
Like
dumb. But it
your
was
one
an
moment,
insane catch, you know,
yeah.
like and so I think with a couple of like really cool plays like that, and I think they did they firmly handled all the rest. But granted, we were in preseason cupcake mode. So like
They beat Auburn by 6.
yeah,
Uh, they they beat Arkansas by 3. They beat LSU by a bunch, but then that's when LSU was 20th, and then they fell off a cliff. And Missouri, they beat okay. They beat Stanford by 48, and then they lost to Texas by 10. So
that's true.
they they probably had 2 hard games. They beat Notre Dame and they lost to Texas,
Do you feel like they're a team that plays to their competition instead of
like
like,
BYU does.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
in
could
the
see
sense of
that.
like they're not consistently blowing teams out like a Notre Dame or an Ohio State, but
Uh-huh.
they are finding a way to win, you know, like that. I mean, I since the beginning of the season, despite the Texas A&M like link that I have, this like I have actually enjoyed watching Carson Beck kind of on his comeback journey of like, give me more money in the NFL draft. I mean, it started out as kind of a greedy thing, but I've been kind of impressed and so like this is one of those games where like I do think Texas A&M has the edge, although I this will be one where both it'll be an interesting game. I
Yeah,
to your point, their schedules kind of line up.
they
So
do.
it will be something where it's like, and to be honest, I mean, this is giving the ACC quite a bit of cred to say
Oh my goodness.
like
Well,
I keep forgetting that Miami's in the ACC because I was like, they are a good like they're a good branded team. I mean, it's kind of like it's Notre Dame. You know, it's the Miami
mhm,
Notre Dame. They have a lot of history in the game, and so you tend to go that direction. But
yeah. I wanted to go to your schedule thing. So they both beat Notre Dame, which
oh, that's
is
right.
interesting. But
That's
then yeah, you look at
they did.
Miami's schedule and it's like, and they lost to Louisville and they lost to SMU.
Yeah,
So I really do think this was the committee throwing the ACC a bone when they probably should have been shut out completely from the playoff.
they should have been.
And they're like, no, we're going to move BYU down. We're going to move you up head to head. Boom. Now you're in. I just saw something as I'm looking at schedules. They're like, does Miami have to win to validate the college football playoff committee's
I think
addition of
so.
them? And I'm like, absolutely,
Absolutely,
because
they do. Um,
they don't have the schedule
no.
or yeah, it's and what's weird is how quickly they ascended up the rankings. They like were
Right.
down
They were unranked for like a week or two after like
or
low
really
20s,
low. Yeah,
low 20s. And then they just all of a sudden crept up and like jumped like
fast.
almost the last week to be like, are they
Right.
12? Like
They
what happened?
they
Yeah.
beat like Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, and then Pitt. When they beat Pitt and they beat them convincingly, all of a sudden it's like they're so good now. And it's like this is just the ACC being like, we need a team because we are worried Duke's gonna win our championship,
Well,
and
and they're like, and the tiebreaker mess that they were in.
oh
And, you
man,
know, because I think that's what they've got to fix that, I'd say, for every conference. Because even like I even look at the SEC, Texas A&M got screwed over by that too. They're like, I'm sorry, Alabama's playing and we lost one
right.
game. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, how is that fair?
that
You
is
know,
true. Yeah,
they've got to
it's
fix that. So,
anyway, so I think this is kind of a you look at the schedules and you're kind of like, oh, like maybe these teams like they're good. They could win, but like maybe they're not as good as I thought. Miami, I think we knew, but
yeah.
Texas A&M it's kind of like, oh. But I would say Texas A&M wins. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I want them to prove like why was Miami even here?
Man,
Like,
if they blow out my, first of all, they're going to get
oh
a thank
man.
you card, a big, you know, flowers from Notre Dame. But
Yeah,
because it'll prove a lot to some extent.
right.
Um, but yeah, I'm sure the
Anyway.
ACC is pouring money into this, like pouring
Oh
money
yeah.
into this game.
Please.
Please
Please
validate
win.
us. Well, I was like thinking we can keep going. Let's just even talk about these games. I don't know how much further we can go without having
Yeah,
people
maybe the next
advance.
round.
Yeah, yeah.
Assuming, hey,
Assuming
Oregon
what we
wins.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think it goes back to like what's interesting, what I've noticed about all of these predictions from people is most teams don't make it past these four.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah.
and the only
Well,
one I've heard is Joel Klatt be like, Oregon probably is going to beat Texas. And I was like, I don't know why that bothers me as much as it does. But anyway,
I
um,
I heard someone with a different take saying like Texas Tech actually
yeah,
has a great draw here.
I had, I had, and I heard somebody else say put him in the championship game. So,
Yeah.
like, yeah. So
And I really do think they do. Like
I
Oregon,
agree.
I think Oregon's a bit overrated. Um, and I'm looking at
I've
their
always
schedule
thought that.
now. They
Yeah.
lost to Indiana,
Yeah.
and their best wins are USC, Iowa, and they barely beat Iowa. Remember, it was by two,
I remember.
and Penn State when Penn State was number three. But that's
Yeah. Yeah.
and they still got credit for well, it was at Penn State. And it's like, do you remember how Penn State finished the
Well,
season?
and there
Like
were other schools that went to Penn State later in the year that won too
that
that
one,
are not
right?
anything. So,
So
yeah.
like, I mean, Oregon, are they good? Could they win this game? Absolutely, but I feel like we still don't know who they are necessarily. Now, what gets me nervous is Texas Tech. Sometimes I feel like their offense is
Yeah, I
like,
agree. I was gonna say
are they
that.
going to get going? Like their
Yeah.
defense, is good.
Phenomenal. Well,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, the Texas Tech defense, like I think it's watching with so much hope, your team play this same destructive team twice that I'm like, go Texas Tech, because I'm
yeah,
like, I think it was weird. Like it was the fourth quarter where my mindset changed to be like, I'm no longer, I have to get over this like pain of beating BYU to be like, dude, these guys are legit. I mean,
yeah.
they, I feel like it was a bit of a different game than playing BYU in the second time because the first time I was like, it felt like a lot of BYU mistakes that were
Mhm.
causing us to be where we were. And it wasn't because, I mean, they were, their defensive line was good and all this stuff, but I was like, man, that fourth quarter of the BYU game, I was like, like that secondary was phenomenal. And I was just
Yeah.
like, and they were just, I mean, that's stuff that's where it's like, I mean, those are once in a season moves that they were pulling. And I was like, if they're gonna, I mean, if they're that good, it really just goes back to like the one, I agree with you. Texas Tech's offense, they couldn't convert on us in the red zone very often. And
Hmm.
that was really their fallback, unless they had really honestly, their touchdowns were mostly from turnovers in the red
Hmm.
zone from our
That fourth quarter, yeah, and the
fourth quarter.
third, fourth, yeah.
But
But yeah,
that's the only thing that will probably get them. But so their defense is going to have to win this game, both in offense and defense, I think.
yeah. And I think they can.
I
I
think
like
they
I said,
can
I
too.
think Oregon's good, but what I mean, obviously, the more Texas Tech wins, the better it looks for BYU. Like if Texas Tech
Like take it
destroys
this year.
Oregon, then it's
Oh,
like, well, you thought Oregon was amazing, and BYU was destroyed by
yeah,
them
they
too.
were ranked
So,
number 5, you guys. You know,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even if Texas Tech gets it to the championship game, I think it kind of validates like, hey, BYU probably should have been like, look how good, especially if they go dominant. It's like BYU definitely should have been
Like if
in
they're
here.
the Ohio State of last year, where they just like
Yeah,
wipe the floor with people, I'll be like, well, I feel better.
yeah,
But also,
but
I feel cheated because we should have been in, man. So yeah.
yeah,
Anyway,
and it's interesting because it's like, okay, the second week, it's like, are the teams on a bye going to be slow? Because remember, Ohio State just creamed Oregon last year, and I'm
yeah, I
sure
remember
Oregon's
that. It
like,
was pretty
we got
painful.
to, they got something to prove this year. They're not going
Yeah.
to let James Madison upset them, and they're going to go far. But they're also playing an extra game, which I feel like can
Yeah.
help you sometimes.
And hurt
But
you.
hey, if you get an injury or something,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you never know. But so who do you got? If it's Oregon, Texas Tech, who you
I
going
have
with?
Texas Tech.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think they're special.
I'm going to be really paying attention to that one.
Yeah.
So let's
Agreed.
say we picked Oklahoma for the last game, Oklahoma and Indiana.
This I feel like is tough because
Mhm.
Indiana to me, I'm still not like,
I still don't know how good the Big Ten is. I mean, am I
yeah,
impressed with some of their players? Yes. And also some of the games they put together. But again, it still goes back to like their conference seems like, how do I say this in the right way? Like their lower end and their mid to lower end seems so shallow.
and
Like in the sense of like, it's not, there's not much there. So what are we
and
watching?
and except for Oregon and Ohio State, their schedule is so soft. And I know that that win against Ohio State is great, but it's the same thing with Ohio State. You didn't play really anyone. I mean, you beat Texas. Like that's kind of your best
Hmm.
win there.
Yeah.
And other than that, like I know you're good. It honestly, it's kind of like Notre Dame. It's like you look really good. I test,
Hmm.
but what are you going to do when you're challenged when you play a good team and you get your teeth knocked in and you're like, oh, like we haven't had to come back because we've creamed everybody, like
I think the SEC is chomping at the bit to get to Indiana and just be like,
yeah,
let's just, I mean,
pummel them.
they're like, we already know how good Ohio State is. We've learned that through the years. They're like, let's just like stress test them on some of our teams. I'm sure
Yeah,
like Georgia's not in line unless they go to the championship, but, um, but I'm sure they're just like, let's just see here. Let's see what
yeah.
we got.
Now, I'll give the benefit of the doubt to Indiana here,
I agree.
and the reason is I know I'm hearing my own historical bias come
Yeah,
out
me
with
too.
Indiana, um, and I don't think Alabama or Oklahoma, whoever it is, has the complete team
Yeah, it's not
there, and
Georgia
I
yet.
think
So
Indiana's a little more complete.
I agree.
Uh,
And yeah, Fernando's probably on a high after winning the Heisman.
I almost feel like that's a curse, though. I feel
I
like you
agree.
get it's not consistent, but it's almost like, oh, now I'm the Heisman. Oh, now what's going to happen? Are you going
Like,
to
don't get
actually win?
hurt. Yeah, no, just
Yeah,
be careful. Anyway, yeah, I agree with you on that. I think it's Indiana. I don't think it's a blowout though. I think it probably might be a low scoring game. So,
yeah, I could see that.
all right. So, assuming Ole
Georgia,
Miss win.
oh, honestly, if it's Tulane or Ole Miss, I think Georgia's beating them
Oh yeah,
regardless. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
That's probably the easiest route to the championship, right?
yeah.
I mean, I do think Ohio
Well,
State will be a challenge, but yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, let's just go to the next one. I think we
So yeah, Texas Tech and Ohio State. This will
or
be
Texas A&M, Ohio
Texas,
State
yeah, Texas A&M and Ohio State. I think this will be a good one. I don't
could
know.
be
I'm starting to
interesting.
waver a little bit on how good I think Texas A&M is in this scenario. But I guess
Yeah,
this also goes to my historical bias too on Ohio State.
yeah,
And I mean, it's kind of like it was listening to Josh talk about Ohio State and his like weariness in playing Alabama and Georgia in general. And I think this just comes from like we know that Ohio State has been good in the past. I don't doubt that they are performative.
yeah.
And I'm trying to choose my words right because I'm not that they're dominant. I'm not saying they're dominant, but they have good performance factors. Um,
Mm,
it's hard for me. I mean, everyone's like, they're the most complete team out here. I was like, I still am a little confused. I don't
yeah.
know that I don't know. And I guess everyone's like, what's it going to take to convince you that, Ohio State and Indiana is good? I was like, it's going to
Oh,
take this gauntlet.
yeah,
Honestly, it's going to take this gauntlet. Last year they were great. They won, obviously, and convincingly so. They deserved to be
yeah. Well,
there.
they
So
earned it in the playoff because the regular seasons, and we
that's
talked about this in
right.
one of the
Yes,
episodes, the
yes.
regular season schedule was fluffy enough that
Mhm.
it's like, oh, you're resting people in the second half, whereas other teams aren't. And I know they have probably had injuries and stuff, but like you're playing kind of an easy schedule here
Mhm.
so that by the time you got here, yes, did you prove yourself? You did, but it took to the playoff to prove yourself to a not Big Ten fan,
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Well, and it goes back to and it'll be earned and I'll give it. I
Oh
think
yeah,
it's the same way I think we talked about Oklahoma, especially you during the very beginning, where it's like, if they earn it, then maybe. And I think you've started to give them that cred to be like,
right,
no, they earned it. They did.
right.
And so I think it goes back to like, here's Indiana and Ohio State's opportunity for us to really take a look and be like, all right, legit, let's go, you
I
know?
will say though, like, given all the grief I give about Ohio State, if I think what it would take, like, if they would have creamed Indiana in the championship game, I
Yeah,
would have looked at this matchup and been like, oh, it's Ohio State, kind of like what
yeah,
we did with Georgia.
yeah.
But because they lost, and it was like, oh, they didn't look their best, and I know Indiana's good. Now I'm kind of like,
Well,
maybe
they're
Texas A&M
beatable.
can do
Yeah,
it. Maybe Texas.
yeah.
So
Well, and
it's not.
yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You're good.
I was just gonna say what I haven't really done with this game yet is looked at what their complementary things are. So because I know that Ohio State, I mean, I feel like the quarterback, I mean, Julian Sain was a Heisman candidate. I guess from my perspective, they had better players that were more impressive to me when I would watch them play to be like, I mean, he's fine,
Hmm.
but um, and so I do think for me, their defense, Ohio State's defense stands out a little bit more. Obviously, so if Indiana and Ohio State had a low scoring
Low
game,
scoring game.
you know.
Yeah.
But Texas A&M, they have from what I've been able to see, again, it goes back to, it seems like they have a more dominant offense. And so that's going to be an interesting
Interesting battle there.
comparison. But I haven't done a stats comparison on that one. So that might be something I
Yeah.
have to go back to. But I,
I would still pick Ohio State here.
yeah, I think I would too.
Um,
And it goes back
but
to like, did we just picked all the
yeah,
top four?
but this one is
Okay.
kind of a
Uh,
like I'm still fairly confident in it, but I would have been more confident with that Big Ten champion, like a dominant Big Ten championship game. It's
I
like,
agree.
oh, you're a Georgia. No, yeah. So we're picking all the highest seeds, which is why they're the highest seeds, I guess.
Okay, how about this real quick? Just a quick rundown on those same games. Outside of who you think will win, who do you want to win?
Oh,
Let's
on
say so like on
these
Oregon, Texas Tech, who do you want to win?
Texas Tech
Yeah,
want
same.
them to win.
Oklahoma and
Uh,
Indiana.
ooh, Indiana, because if a number 8 or 9
Yeah,
SEC
it's
team
true.
beats the Big Ten, they're like SEC is going to be like, see, we told you
Yeah,
we
the
need more. We're
insufferability
the
of it.
best.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, Indiana, I think.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. Although I flirt with Oklahoma, but you just convinced me against that. So, but the next game, I kind of want Ole Miss to win.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, that would be interesting.
because it's the same strategy. I want to
Yeah,
weaken the SEC. You know what I mean? So yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's a good point. Yeah,
yeah,
I'd be fine with that. I think the first two, I don't know what it is, what to put the label on. It's like maybe I like these teams or I want them or they
yeah,
work to my favor or work to my
yeah.
bias. And these last two, I'm kind of like, I just want chaos here. Like Ole Miss come
Yes,
in and
yeah,
just be like, we don't have a coach. We
yeah.
don't
We're
care.
we're
We're
playing for
just,
ourselves.
yeah,
Oh,
we're
yeah, for
together
our transfer
now.
portal bids. Like
Uh-huh.
yeah,
And they
yeah.
beat Georgia, who everyone, I think it's pretty like, hey, you're one of the
Either that or
favorites.
Ohio
Obvious.
State. I think that
Yeah.
people are going
And
for.
then with the Ohio State one, oh,
I
Texas A&M.
want I
Now,
want Texas A&M to win. Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
if Miami got through somehow, I would want them to lose.
You want
But
Miami to lose?
to Ohio State, just because it's like I don't want the ACC to start pounding their chest and being like, "See, we barely got in."
But Jared, it weakens
It
the
weakens
Big
the Big Ten.
Ten.
That's true. It's like you barely got in, and now you beat Ohio State. I
Yeah,
guess that's true.
if you're wanting chaos, that's a chaotic move. I
That
mean,
is
talk about
chaos.
the ultimate chaos.
Well,
Then Duke's over here being like, "We should have
yeah,
been
we
in it."
should have got in.
Yeah, that would
That
be
was the
awesome.
funniest thing when Duke won. The coach was like, "We should get in the playoffs." Like, pup, pup, pup. No, like,
Yeah,
what are you
like
talking about? You have
you
5 losses.
you and Stark need to go and be best friends because that's just not going to happen. So like,
Yeah.
yeah. But
So ultimate chaos is Miami wins, Tulane wins. I think Alabama, honestly, is a little
yeah,
chaotic, and
that's
James
chaotic.
Madison. Yeah,
Yeah.
you get all those in
All
there.
the underdogs.
All the
So
underdogs. Let's do it.
yeah, let's do it. So let's go see who starting in a couple of hours. We get to go
Yeah.
see how this all plays out.
And
So
then
maybe, yeah,
oh,
good.
go ahead. I was gonna say we do one maybe a semifinal or something like
Yes.
that, or I don't
Yeah,
know.
after all the food settles after the New Year holiday, and
Here,
then we'll
that's a good plan.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Awesome.
forgot one started tonight. I'm excited. We'll go.
Yay, something to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. All right, we'll go
All right.
football. We'll talk
Yay,
later.
football. Okay. See ya.
Bye.